Welcome to Becoming Parents Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Campbell, mom of 18 and executive director of the Doula Co-op of Nevada. With more than 15 years in birth work, I've had the privilege of walking beside families through life's transitions. My work centers on connection, community, and amplifying voices that too often go unheard. Each of these episodes is an honest conversation about the messy, beautiful, and transformative experiences that shape us as parents and as people. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the incredible guests who show up with courage and authenticity to share their stories with us. Let's dive right in. I'm so excited, Stephen, to have you on for the second time. I have the link where I interviewed you the first time. We talked a lot about your business, which I want updates on. But biggest thing, lay it on me.
Ooh.
Tell me what's happening in your life right now that's so exciting.
Everything pales in comparison to there's a healthy little rascal downstairs, a little over a month old, and just I'm sure there's some way to love him more than I do, but it's unclear how it's possible.
Right?
Yeah.
If I had to describe to you the love that you will have for your child in comparison to anything else, it doesn't mean that you don't love your wife tremendously, but it's a different type of love.
Yeah.
It's like telling somebody what salt tastes like who's never had salt. Like it's not really possible.
Yeah, completely agreed. Yes. It's not a thing where you can be like, let me tell you what this experience will be like. It's like you just have to do it. And I am very fortunate in that my selfish years of like being in film and being able to like pick up, go to a film festival, go be on location for months, do whatever you need to, all that stuff. Bad time to have a child. I would not have been a good dad. And I understand that. But now I'm in a place where it's like, with Sukha, what I do, it's very much based around, hey, I'm on my laptop. Laura's works remotely for, PNC, so she can be here a lot. And the past like 5-6 weeks have been like just amazing. Like I told you, I just want to eat them. I'm so in love with them. I'm like, I just want you to be like with me at all times. I'm gonna eat you.
I love it. And I love it. Like,
is that wrong to say?
Go ahead.
Wrong? First child. Does everyone say that or no one says that?
Yeah. Yes. Everyone. I think there's interesting things about this. You saying you want to I just want to eat him. I want him with me all the time. For a woman, there's something called microchimerism. But basically, when you are pregnant, the DNA of that baby becomes part of your DNA. It actually changes the woman's DNA. That child is with her. So even in like a loss, a miscarriage or a loss, it literally changes your DNA. Mm-hmm. She will have your son with her, like physically, for generations, decades and decades. It's so fascinating to me.
I mean, it's just that feeling of like, I love you so much. I just want you to go everywhere with me. Like the idea of having like a little carrier, like the little, I don't know what you call them, the, carrier thing.
Like a front pack.
Like, seems so fun to be just like, sorry?
The front packs, the little front packs?
The front packs, yeah, the front packs, where it's like going on a walk and be like, let's go look at the world together. Let's go walk down to the park together and take a look at things, Like super fun.
Update us. You talked to me before in our last interview about the IVF. So you guys went through that and it went great. You had a really wonderful IVF experience, all things considered. And then the pregnancy was going fine last I talked to you. So tell me how the end of the pregnancy went and take me through the labor and delivery. And I love hearing it from your perspective as a man. It's such a different lens.
It is a very different lens. Okay. So things generally tracked well. There was one moment of like, which is the third growth ultrasound. The ultrasound measurements, like the cranium and the limbs, whatever, and the abdomen, stuff like that. They said, listen, there is an asymmetrical growth between, growth rate between his abdomen and the rest. So this thing, which we learned, this fetal, asymmetrical growth thing, they said that can happen for a number of reasons. It could be like the placenta's failing, so you're not getting enough nutrition. So the fetus is prioritizing growing the brain and growing the limbs, but not the abdomen, stuff like that. It could be the umbilical cord. It could be a number of things. Let's induce early. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're the expert here. Let's induce early. So we induced 2 weeks before his gestational normal delivery date, right? Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, he was fine. Don't know if maybe that he was cramped in some way when they measured him on the third growth ultrasound. Don't know. And honestly, don't know that there's any way to find out. So I kind of don't care. He came out. He's adorable. I'm so grateful he has not exhibited any, you know, health issues of any sort. So super happy about that. So here's the interesting thing. So Laura, they were going to do, was it the Foley balloon?
Yes.
So they had her come in on a Tuesday, end of the day, do the balloon. And then we stayed there overnight and 4 a.m. started the Pitocin and did that. And Laura seemed to be progressing relatively well. Our OB, who is, I think, the head of obstetrics at that at the hospital, he had 6 deliveries that day, 2 cesareans and 4 whatever vaginal births, right? So I realized between breakfast and lunch that he was in that air traffic control of like who's landing at what time and we get the plane spaced out sort of thing, which I had never experienced this before. So I didn't know what's the normal like baby delivery load. Do you try and do 3 a day, 8 a day, 1 a day? I have no idea, right? So he had 6. And as it stood, we and one other couple were pretty much like dilation, sort of, very similar. So it's that kind of like, So they slowed all of us down because he had 2 C-sections that were taking longer than anticipated. So dial back the Pitocin. She's on the epidural, the whole thing. This is now like Wednesday mid-afternoon. Mm-hmm. And then when it was, okay, we think he's out in about 45 minutes, dialed that up. We had a fantastic RN who had transferred from some other part of Texas, was living here now, and did a bunch of like funny kind of stuff. I mean, she had the weird bouncy ball thing. And she's like, okay, let's get on all 4s and we're going to, bear down in this position. Let's get on our side. Let's do this. And Laura's pretty mobile, I think, relative to other people on epidurals, right?
Good.
So she's like doing that. So she's transversely on the hospital bed, but in the air naked, right? And, the nurse is like, okay, so put the ball here and then try and do this. Our OB comes in. And you should have seen his face because Laura's butt is basically facing that direction. And he kind of did this. He walked in and he went, and he said, are you on the do they give you an epidural? And Laura's like, yes. He's like, and you could still do that. And she's like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, this works for you. All good. I'll be back in a few minutes, right? So he goes out. They dial up the Pitocin. He comes back and starts to do like when you bear down, I want you to grab the back of your legs and let's do this. So she pushes, I'm going to say like for like 30, 60 seconds, something like that. Wait another 2 minutes, pushes again. And I'm standing there just off her right thigh. And a lot of I worked in film, a lot of the dramatic film TV, the screaming with the face that's got all the sweat on it, with, people with misters off screen and that. Laura was kind of like, okay, this is cool. I can do this. The balloon was a little more painful. The third push, he's like, hey, you want to see something? And you could see the top of his head. It was a little hair.
Yeah.
And I made a comment about this, forgetting that our OB was bald, right? I go, oh my God, he's got hair. And OB's like, what's up with hair? Like, you don't need hair to be cool. I was like, okay, you look great without hair. But I mean, he's got hair. This is cool. I can see him, right? OB put his hands around the edges of his head, pulled him out.
Yeah.
Delivery was like 30 minutes.
That's great. What a great epidural. What a perfect epidural. Because a lot of women have like no mobility and push for hours because there's no brain body connection.
Right. So we talked about that. It was like, Yeah, it's
nothing like the movies, which then makes me like so pissed when I see a movie. I'm like, come on, like if you're going to go to all this effort, make it actually real, not real.
Movies are like that. It's like, I have a bunch of friends that are hobbits. They're nothing like that.
What were your thoughts about your wife and becoming a father when he was born and they put him on her? What happened for you?
She was made for this. Like, it was just so natural. We've known each other for 10 years. We've dated for 10 years, right? And historically, I don't like children.
Right. Which is a great point. That's a great point.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't. Like, there's something about, I can't have a conversation with you. I can't, and you're crying and I don't understand. It's been very frustrating. And I've seen, God knows how many friends have kids. And there's a certain point where it's like, I can't even, Jennifer, we can't even have a conversation because every 9 seconds you're like, oh, let me go. I don't know he's crying. Hold on. I'll be right back. Wait. And you're just like,
Yep.
oh my God. Right. So I've generally been anti-kid. With Laura, I had a moment a few years ago where I was like, actually, with you, I think this would be fun and good and the right thing. I've never felt that before. Right. Done everything I could, including getting a vasectomy to make sure that was not on the menu. Right. And Laura was like, actually, with you, just be cool. So I remember the moment when you're right. Little guy comes out, our OB, like, aspirates his little, what exactly, just little nose and
Yep.
super cute. Small needs red. Asked me if I want to cut the umbilical cord. I was like, actually, no, that's not my thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm being closer to my child because I cut the umbilical cord. I'm good. He's like, okay, good. Snip. Here you go, clamp, and gives it to mommy. And Laura has her little guy on her chest. And I was like, this is absolutely the way it was meant to be. Like, she's meant to be a mom. She's going to be an amazing mom. All the kids in the neighborhood are going to come over and want to hang out at our house because she's just has that energy of just like things are going to be safe. We're going to be having fun. Let's learn how to dance. Let's do our homework. Like, she just has that like great mom kind of energy. And that was super cool. I got to, skin to skin for an hour or so. And it happened so quickly when the little guy popped out and basically the third push or so, third
Yeah.
reel, like, okay, bear down to this, came out. He looked at the RN. He's like, get everybody. Like, there were no other nurses around to do any stuff. It was just the two of them because I think in his mind, he didn't budget 30 minutes. He was like, this is going to be a little bit.
2 hours. 2 hours.
Right, exactly. So then she had to run out of the room and get all the nurses with this, bringing the scales and bringing the stuff and all that. And it was kind of funny that they were like, hey, man, we're like on lunch break. No one told us anything was happening in here. So it worked out great. And then, yeah.
I want to talk about a couple things just to clarify.
Ooh.
So late term ultrasounds tend to be less effective. And I can't tell you as a doula how many growth restricted babies have been over 6 pounds. Nothing's wrong with them. Everything's fine. It doesn't mean that those instances that it really is an issue. It's not a good thing that we moved forward, but I'm glad your induction went well, because for me, from my perspective, it's always a shame when you get nervous about a situation that could be happening and you get induced, and that can be stressful. So you guys had like the most ideal induction situation because it all went really well. For a lot of people, it doesn't, and that can be pretty traumatic. And then finding out there was nothing really wrong, and late term ultrasounds aren't even that accurate, and we didn't need to do all this stuff. So I'm really relieved, right? Because I know a lot of the times for anybody hearing this, they're like, that wasn't my outcome. Well, no, it's not often. But it is sometimes. And inductions don't have to be a big, hairy, horrible, awful thing. It's the right tool at the right time. But I'm glad that he was okay.
I also think we dated around enough. Like,
Yeah.
we had another OB before this one. And I don't know, going through the third growth ultrasound showed this. We should do this early. I don't think with her, it would have been the same. I can tell you flat out, it would not have been as comfortable and as successful. Like, he was just like, we got this. Don't worry. And it turned out great. And there was a great amount of happiness Laura and I had that we actually had said, we need to make a change before we get into this pregnancy. Let's find the right OB.
Yep.
As opposed to, someone recommended her and she sounds really great. And she was not the right one.
And that's so true. You can have like the most recommended person who you do not click with. One of my daughters is 37 and a half weeks pregnant right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's where we were. We gave it 30. We delivered at 38.
Yeah. Yeah. So she called me the other day and said, I just came out of an appointment and this is what happened with the OB. And this is how I feel about it. And I said, well, you're on your way to the hospital for an ultrasound. Let them know that he's not allowed in your room. Because there are other OBs. There's not one on the floor all the time. He works for you. And although he is a medical professional, he doesn't need to be your medical professional. So if you do not vibe with somebody, you have the right to say, I don't want. And she's like, I can do that. I'm like, this is your body, your baby, your family.
Yeah.
You are paying them right now. Although they're the expert, they're working for you. So don't ever put yourself in a situation where you're uncomfortable, and they will put that on your chart and that person will never be in your room, because to your point, you want the right person. And with the right person, a hard situation. I had the right OB in a really hard situation and it was great. So, yeah, definitely. That's a great point. So, you're a dad now, 5 weeks. How much have you changed?
I was warned about the no sleep.
Okay.
So I think because they talk about how disappointment or unhappiness is the gap between expectation and reality. My
Yes.
expectation was exactly where it is. So I'm not unhappy because I'm like, oh, this is the way every friend told me it'd be. So it's like, oh, okay, we're doing that. Right. So there's
We're
that.
doing it right.
Yeah. So he got about a week ago or so into about 5 hours, a chunk at night, which
So
we were
good.
happy about.
So good.
Um, we just hit this past week that with Laura's, I don't know if this is TMI, but I'll go for it. With
Never.
Laura's breast milk, he
Yeah.
seemed to have indigestion. So we had to do all the reading and the talking about acid reflux and, the gastroesophageal, reflux and all this stuff, right? We tried formula and that went away for 2 days. And we're like, oh, well, maybe it's something she was eating or something. And then on the third day, yesterday, he did have a little bit of it with the formula. We're like, okay, so it's not just the breast milk, it's something. So we're right now thinking with our pediatrician, okay, do we do like an H2 blocker and try that? Do we try an antacid? Like, I know there's a period of time when they have a natural amount of reflux.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now. Is he's been a dream. We love him to death. He was just up here a moment ago. I was like, I'm in an expensive sweater. And I was holding him like, I don't care. Spit up on me. I honestly, a year ago would have cared. Today, adorable.
Isn't that crazy? I mean,
Yeah.
literally, I remember thinking like, why should I even put a shirt on? I'm just going to breastfeed all day long. I'm dripping everywhere. Like, my body has become not mine anymore. It's just doing all of these bodily functions I didn't even know existed. And how about we just wear nursing pads and that's it? I will have no other clothes on, and because it's stupid. Let's cut out the middleman and
Yep.
maybe I'll shower. That would be like a dream. Um, and the things that you thought were so important before suddenly become moot. It's not that eventually I
Yeah.
didn't want to tuck in my shirt and wear a nice sweater and not have spit up on it. I did. That was a goal. It was just not realistic and I didn't care anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, who cares about your sweater when you have a son who's spitting up on it? Like, how
I
great is
know.
that?
And he's just looking up at you with those big eyes. He's like, blink, blink, blink. And you're like, I love you. What
Spit up
do you
everywhere.
want to do now? You want to go
I'll
for
rub
what?
it in. It's like lotion. It's fine.
Oh my God. I was telling you, like the idea of changing diapers, I was like, oh, that's gonna be a rough one. We're gonna get through it. I look forward to it. It's so cute. It's like, oh, you know what? Guess what? We're gonna do a little diaper change. I had a great attitude about it. When we go to the changing table now, he doesn't cry. He knows exactly what's up. He looks at me. I hold his little hands for him and I go, you're doing a great job. It's going to be really fun. He puts his legs up for me. Like it's, I expected this to be a living nightmare. And I'm like, hey, guess what? Diaper time.
I love that you said about like expectation and reality and that gap. I think when you have those expectations of it looking like a Pinterest board and then it doesn't, and we were, I had my first kids 1992, no internet, no nothing. And I think having the internet is a blessing and a curse, and the fact that you're inundated with what things should be like. And I would have loved
Oh
to
my
have some of
God.
that support
Yeah.
and information, but I think it was easier for me to parent without it than it is for parents with it. um just because you're so inundated with this rainbow and unicorn version of a non-reality. So I love that you
It,
said that, and you waited for
it's,
this.
I waited. I would have been a bad dad. If you asked me to do this 10 years ago, um, I do not think I would have been like the guy.
Yeah.
And now, like, middle of the night, Laura's like, this morning, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. I was going to go to the gym at 5. Laura at 4 something was like, hey, I just got him. I'm going to bring him to bed. I think he kind of needs to be fed or something. Can you help out? And it wasn't like, oh man, I have gym plans and the alarm's going to go off in a minute. It was like, oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Let me go get a bottle. Let me feed them. This would be fun having a little like father-son time sitting up in bed in the middle of the night.
Which
Think that'd be something to come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Stephen, who have you become? I want to know,
I
first of
know.
all, with Sukha, how is that going and what has changed? It's only been like 5 months.
I think it was, yeah, like July, August. It was still
It
hot
was
out. When
it
we
was the
spoke, I
end of
remember it was hot.
July.
It's
So
cold now.
what has
It's raining in
changed?
Austin.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Yuck. That's terrible. What's changed from a business standpoint, if anything?
You know what? I know a lot of our members have kids. They're working professionals, often work from home with kids. And I know in that, you know, what you were saying early on in our chat, where you're like, people can tell you, but it's like describing salt if you've never tasted salt, you know? So people can tell you, oh, Steven, you know, what I really need is like, I have these compressed windows of time where I need to be really efficient because I've got the work stuff, the family stuff, I've got to look, whatever, right? I'm now on the other side of that. I'm not the one hearing it going like, oh, I'm so glad we made this thing for you to focus. You have 60 minutes. Here's how you can use it really well. Now I'm the one going, okay, Laura, listen, I can take the next 90 minutes from like 6 to 7:30 a.m. If I really crank some stuff out, I think I'll get these features launched or this bug fixed or this blog post written, whatever. Can you watch them for 90 minutes? And then I got them. And that 90 minutes would normally, in old me, that would take 2 to 3 hours of like puttering around and kind of reading emails and rewriting stuff. And now it's like, get it done. Super like targeted. That's changed. I get it now. I've evolved as a member of my own community.
Which is
It's kind of weird.
amazing. That's amazing. And I think that that's pretty common. I've used Sukha since our last, I signed up and I've been on it.
Well, hello. You got to say hi in the group chat. Hey, what's up? I'm here.
No, I don't, I know I haven't. And what I found is like, I'm good at calendar blocking and I have calendar blocking for my work stuff, but I need calendar blocking for stuff that's not, sometimes it's work stuff. A lot of it, I wouldn't say it's personal, but like that blog post that you have to write or, and I can time block that in to my work day, my work hour days. But at first I thought, oh, it's going to take over everything. No, it filled in the gaps of what I was doing pretty well already. So I imagine everyone uses it a little bit differently, but it is that same thing. As a mom, I'm like, I have 30 minutes and I need to pump through as much of this as I can because that frees me up for X, Y, and Z, the school pickup, whatever it is. So yeah, I
exactly
love that.
it. Did I tell you about, there's a member of our community who is the family guy and is an assistant vice principal at a high school in Missouri.
No.
Okay, so this spring there is a guy, Roy King, he's a member, and once a day you can post something you finished. As you mark off tasks, it'll say, do you want to share this, right? So if you're proud of something, it's your most important thing, or you finished a new website or blog post, you can share it and people can read your blog post, right? So he posted in the group chat, finished my dissertation. And some people in the group chat were like, hey man, that's kind of that's a big thing to just kind of mic drop. Be like, oh, I wrote my blog post today. Oh, I finished my dissertation, right? So he's like, yeah. He said, so I am a assistant vice principal at some high school in Missouri. By day, I have kids, and I have this window of time in which I've been working on my PhD in engineering. So in that little space between when the kids come home and I'm off, he's like, I know that's 60 to 90 minutes in a day, or a little bit on the weekend. I have to use it well. So that's why I'm in Sukha, because it helps me really focus for that period of time and get more done than I should. But he said, don't get too excited, because this is just the dissertation. I still have to defend it. When you go in front of the panel of professors or whatever, right? I don't have a doctorate. I would know that more clearly. My brother does. So he said, that's like 2 weeks from Monday. Everyone's like, okay, cool, man. Now, that weekend before that Monday, what's cool is you can scroll up in the group chat, actually a ways now, and people around the world I know who don't know him. South America, Asia. Hey, Roy, good luck on Monday, man. You got this. Oh, we're pulling for you. And I was like, that's really nice to be part of a community. It's not like Twitter where people are hating on each other, rage baiting each other, Reddit where everyone's trying to tell each other they're dumber than they are. It's just like, People just being like, hey man, you got this. Go. Good luck Monday. So Monday, nothing from Roy. Finally, someone posted like, hey, anybody heard from Roy today? Like, did everything go okay? Right? Nothing. Tuesday morning, Roy logs on and he posts, you may now call me Dr. King. And
Oh,
people went ape shit. And I was like, that's why I built this. Because I want a place for people who are going to be like, I want to be focused. I want to get my stuff done. I want to be part of a positive community that they can come together. And that's for me to happen. My most fun moment is when I get up, I finally make it to my desk and I scroll through the group chat to see like who's doing what, who's saying what, who found a cool article on, brain activity or whatever and post it, which I do sometimes. And I almost didn't, I don't know if I told this, I almost didn't have a sense of community. We were just making a flow state app. You want to get into flow state? Here you go. And I had this idea because I like, talking to you one-on-one. I talked to a lot of members one-on-one, almost like a hub and spoke,
yeah.
but none of them had any sense of each other. It was just like a single player game. It was like playing Pac-Man. You had no idea that there were 10,000 people playing Pac-Man in other arcades around the world, right?
Right.
So I had this idea of like, what if it was more like a multiplayer game? We actually had a sense of, oh, Jennifer's out there working on her blog, and so, oh, it's cool. So I talked to a couple members and I was like, I just want to run this by you. Would this be the most distracting thing ever? Like, oh, you could talk to other people. Oh, it defies the idea of focus, right? Or would it be cool? And I'd like your input. And there was one member, this woman I spoke to, who made up my mind. And she said that she listened to me very politely. And she said, listen, Stephen, I can go to the Nike store. I can buy a pair of shoes. They sell me a left shoe, a right shoe, put them on my feet. They run great. They work fine. There's a reason there are 100 million people in the Nike Run Club. Because when you run together, you run further and faster and you're accountable. And the days you suck and you're on the sofa and your friends come by and they're like, come on, Jennifer, let's do this. And you do it. It feels great. And the days one of your friends sucks and you go pick them up at their house and they feel good, feeling better. She's like, you should totally do it. It's my favorite thing in the entire app.
Yep. I agree. And I think we're more productive. Well, I mean, it's a conditional logic conversation, right? I'm the most productive in my flow state when I have time set aside and I'm really dialed in. And
bingo,
I'm at my best when I'm with community and I have support. And both things are true, and can be synonymous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think both are true simultaneously and sometimes separately, but that's so cool because I haven't gotten into the community yet. And I should, because I have questions that I would love
you
to
should
ask.
just because like you have a personality that people would gravitate towards. They're like, hey, Jen, what are you doing today? You're like, well, boys, let me tell you what's happening on this end.
Yeah. Okay. That is awesome. I think everybody should get your app. We have all the links in the show notes. And I also have the links for your first interview if they want to, people want to bridge the gap. I want to end by you sharing from IVF to pregnancy, to induction, to delivery, to first month, from a man's perspective.
Yep.
What are the biggest takeaways? I mean, you're positive about all of it. And some of this is hard and yet positive. And I think people need to realize that hard doesn't mean negative, right? But
no, and also it's about expectation.
It is.
I was not 16 being like, what is this thing I'm going to do? I have had enough friends go through it. I've had friends lose their babies. When we had a little scare around the third growth ultrasound, Laura and I had a little moment. I was like, I just want you to know, I'm okay if this turns out not to be the baby that we have. If there's something wrong, it doesn't okay. I'm here. We can talk about it, but I'm not going to be depressed because it just means, you know what? We're lucky to have a couple more embryos.
Yeah.
One of those was meant to be it. And let's just do it that way. Would I have said that if I was a 22-year-old dad? Hell no. But now I'm in a place where it's like, you know what? I've seen a lot of things end up the way they're meant to be. And that was an important part of just like, okay, let's go into this with a very real expectation. And it's true. Some parts have been hard, but I've been expecting it. So I'm kind of like joyful through it. Like, oh my God, this is the first time I was lying on the sofa and he peed on me. Oh, he peed on the sofa. And and it was like, my old me would be like, the sofa, In reality, I was like, what's that warm, gushy feeling? I think I know. And we call him Houdini, by the way. I don't know why we buy diapers. Because here's weird though, he routinely pees sometimes around the diaper where the diaper is not wet. Like you can trace your finger around the edges of the leg holes and the belly, and it's not wet. Yet he's gotten his blanket wet or he's gotten you wet. And you're like, how did he do that? So we call him Houdini.
That's great. That's great. I think the best thing is the reality and the expectation, which I love.
Right?
I'm so happy for you.
Do you know where I learned that?
Huh.
I learned that in a moment where I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Right. I was very fortunate when I was young and sort of coming up that I got invited to go to the Center for Creative Leadership down near like Durham, North Carolina, right? Where a lot of companies send their mid-level executives to groom them. But I was like 19 at the time, 20 at the time. So I was a little bit like hot shot coming out of USC young, being like all that, right? And one of the things they said was that they said, hey, just to let you know, like your unhappiness is going to be the gap between your expectation and reality. And I heard that in my little, young whippersnapper brain as, oh, well, you want me to be happy by lowering my expectations? Well, hell no. That's how I got here. Was like, I have high expectations of myself. I'm a high achiever, all that kind of like internal monologue. And of course, later you realize what they're saying is like, hey, man, you can do whatever you want in the world, but you're going to choose how full you see your glass. Like your glass is going to be a certain amount of water. You can look at that and go, awesome. Or you can go, God, there could be like 1 cubic centimeter more. I'm miserable, And they're like, it's still going to be the same water. You just get to choose how you feel. And now I get that. I didn't get that before.
Stephen, thank you so much. Thank you so much
for having me.
Sharing your story. I'm so excited.
It is so nice to see your face again. I had such a great time back in July, August, wherever we chatted when it was warm. And congrats on the new place.
Thanks.
And all the developments.
Thanks. Life changes. You got to roll with it.
There you go.